Good evening. Today is Wednesday, December 3rd. My name is Jane Hoffman. I'm a political scientist residing in northern Minnesota. I will be having four co hosts calling in, and tonight's topic will be on Pete Hegseeth and his second boat strike on a Venezuelan boat, an Afghan national killing two people in D.C., and other controversial issues that have risen in the news, including Trump's open disgust of Minnesota Somalians and the way he presents himself as a president in a non professional manner, and also his general disdain for American culture and his constant way that he keeps promoting who he thinks is worthy versus unworthy. Like, it's all based on his disapproval ratings and his own set agenda of his value system, which is really anti-Christian. And I will get to that. I am going to play John Yoder's new Christian song. He's one of our co-hosts and he's our street minister. Here I go. Love is there for you when you open up your heart so wide. He comes inside. And you'll never be the same again. No, 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 you'll never do it. I was so lucky. No, you'll never gone on with you. No, you'll never do it. I would say we can. No, you'll never fly without a yeah. No, you'll never be the same again. No, you'll never be the same again. No, you'll never. Hi, Don.
Hey, what's up?
Um, I'm trying to put a picture into the show. And that we are live already. So I'm just give me a Hollywood second, okay? You missed John's intro. It was a new song he wrote. Bianca is calling. Hold on. Okay. Hi, Bianca. Merging the calls. Just a minute. I'm merging yours calls with Don. Can you both hear me? Don and Bianca, can you hear me? I think I screwed up. I have to add Bianchi. I'm merging you and Don. Just a sec. Okay, you both Don and Don and Bianchi are on the air. Okay, guys.
It's 10:34. It's 8:40.
So what's your point, Bianchi?
You said to be ready at 10:30.
Well, I was ready, but I hit the wrong button when you called. And I had to merge. Don had called 30 seconds before you, and Suzette will be calling any minute.
Right. What snacks we got?
So we're gonna bring up the. You guys missed John's introductory song. He wrote a new song, and I'm gonna bring up the two main topics, and then we're gonna discuss it. And then the problem is when Suzette and John call, it's gonna be a lag, but we'll deal with it.
How's your son doing?
He's in good shape. He had a job interview today.
That's good.
Yeah, everything's functional. I forgot to put you guys on speaker.
No problem. Well, that's great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, he had a job interview. He seems focused. He wants to stay in Tempe, Arizona. And Duluth is brutal right now. It was 13 degrees 2 or 3 days in a row with one day the wind chill was 0.
You guys have some of the worst weather in the country lately. Or you just got
and just to be clarified, the last 2 winters weren't too bad. So we had the most beautiful fall. It was like 50 degrees up till November 30th or November 28th. And now we're paying for it.
Well, everything else is going on in that state. I wouldn't want to live up there. You're almost right.
That's one of the topics. So there's 2 topics tonight. One is Pete Hegseeth is getting a lot of slack. I mean, a lot of criticism. I guess there were 2 survivors on the Venezuelan ship that was attacked, and he gave the order to kill those people, which is 2 senators classified it as a war crime because usually in a military exercise, if they hit somebody, whether it's on land or sea, if there's a survivor, they're allowed to survive. And now they're calling it a war crime.
That is let me ask this. That's international. In World War II, when the American pilots went down, Japanese sailors on the deck of ships machine gunned them as they was floating in the water. Correct. In the Somali, with Black Hawk Down, the pilots of those helicopters, the Somalis drug them through the street until they was dead behind trucks or cars. So nobody said anything about that.
But they were already involved in a proxy war in Somali.
Regardless.
Yes, it isn't. Because the Venezuelan was more of a sidewinder exercise. They went down there to hit certain civilian boats, and they it's all right. Let's make a scenario. Let's say Trump and Hegseeth wanted to do a one-time hit just to prove a point. Well, that's not exactly how it went down.
Let me tell you what's going on with Venezuela. Venezuela has been under sanctions from the U.S. and other world countries for some time because Maduro refused to allow fair and free elections, especially with his competition.
I know that.
They have no place. Let me finish. They have no place to do economics. Trump gave Chevron an exemption to be able to go into Venezuela and help them produce their oil. Their infrastructure in that particular profession is just so up because of mismanagement and so on and so on and so on. So it was doing. So if Venezuela cannot do business regularly, guess what they turn to? Trafficking drugs.
And guess what Donald Trump did on Truth Social Thanksgiving night? He made up a lie. He made up a lie that Maduro was going to comply to some of his demands. He just made the whole thing up.
But how do you know what they're talking about? He should.
Because I have. There's people who report what he writes. There's people who. Let me finish. There's people who report what he says the next day, and they. Oh, Suzette's calling in. Hold on. I'm merging.
Okay.
Suzette's on the line now.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Suzette.
Hey, everybody.
The U.S. Air Force have hit those underground, inside bunker, drug-making facilities with bunker busters.
Why is it our job?
You don't think that Maduro did not know what was going on? If he can't get money under normal circumstances, they're dealing in drug trafficking. And where is the drugs ending up? In the United States, killing Americans.
I have 3 questions. Central and South, all of us, we got Israel and Gaza to deal with Ukraine. Why are we all of a sudden focused on Venezuela when they've been dealing drugs for 35 years?
The drugs are killing Americans. Also, they're trying to cohort China and Russia to come into Venezuela. Now, if Russia go into Venezuela and install missiles like they tried to do in Cuba, what do you think is going to happen? If Russia fire a thermonuclear bomb in the middle of D.C., it would vaporize people clean out to Virginia. Do you know how devastating that would be?
Why do you think that's even a possibility?
In war, anything's a possibility.
I approve of Russia annihilating the White House.
They kill you.
Did you say screw you?
No, I said kill you.
I approve of them vaporizing the White House.
They're already tearing it up. He's waiting to start.
Okay, let's say hi to Suzette. I haven't had a show for almost 2 weeks, so let's touch base with each other. Now, Bianchi launched into a topic. I was just making the introductions. The first topic was the Venezuelan boat strike. The beef that people have is that after the first strike, 2 people survived, and Hegseeth went in there supposedly illegally and commanded the second strike. The next topic is why and for what reason, besides looks, does Donald Trump all of a sudden hate all Minnesota Somalians? Including the fact
let's finish with Venezuela.
No, I'm doing my introduction that I never got to do.
Okay, you doing your introduction.
And then and also he's got Tim my governor, the one who ran with Kamala. Donald Trump wants his hide because he's a sworn enemy of his. And the overall topic of the show is vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will repay evildoers. Donald Trump doesn't get to decide who all the enemies are in the world. That's God's job, not Donald Trump. All right, who wants to start?
Donald Trump decides who are the enemies of the United States.
Bullshit.
Yes, he does. Due to the intelligence, when you have enemies trying to kill Americans, they are enemy of the United States.
And I want to touch base on the Afghan person who was somehow hired by the CIA who killed 2 people in D.C.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that you people just don't understand it, you know?
Here we go. Okay, Don, I want objective statements, not subjective. Because I sure as hell do understand. I spent 20 years in college. So don't be talking to me.
I want to make another point on the boats. When you have U.S. Coast Guard ships flying alongside the boats, hollering at them through loudspeaker in Spanish and English in a language that they should understand, they don't stop. And when you have a 50 caliber, when you have a 50 caliber machine gun, three strings around in front of the boat, 3 of them, they supposed to stop.
Why don't we kill the drug dealers?
You're not supposed to be murdered. And still, then, when they fire on the United States Coast Guard helicopter, they're going to get fired back on. And all they have to do, if they're not carrying drugs, is hoist a white flag. That's maritime procedure. Hoist a white flag. That's piracy when you kill somebody. Let me tell you something, Don, and you know better. If you fire on the U.S., they're going to fire back. They didn't fire on anybody. They have fired. There's YouTube shots on it. Give me your email address. I email you the video. I can't open up your Facebook stuff either. I've been trying for years. A year now.
Don, you're not even on Facebook.
That's why I don't open it up. I mean, I can't open it up. But I mean, the Coast Guard have apprehended some boats, and they have found as much as $3 million worth of cocaine, street value, and then cocaine and fentanyl up to $600 million of drugs. Where is that going?
We don't know, but all we know is we know the drug problem in the U.S. is it's fentanyl from Mexico. It's that candy-coated drugs. It's a widespread problem. It's not just one country.
When you in the Western Hemisphere, the Caribbean, countries sign a treaty with the U.S. If it's Colombia, Nicaragua, they sign treaties with the U.S. And within those treaties, they are let to know that they are coming under, what's the name of that law? Doggone, I can't think. Manifest Destiny, and I can't think of the other ones. Plus, the United States gave Venezuela about $100 and some odd million.
So what's your beef?
That's what I'm talking about. You people don't understand. I never did finish what I was talking
Don,
about.
that's an ignorance.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Don. It's an ignorant statement, though.
Yeah, no, this is all Jane's fault.
Why don't you grow up already and just be a man? Because I don't like that kind of talk.
That's too bad. That's man talk. I don't care. Bottom line.
Well, you're on my show, dude. You're on my show.
Don was a good mentor for your son. He's straightforward and he's a man.
He's met my son before.
A couple times. Her son didn't want to be a part of a lot of things for a while when he was younger. So what's coming right now is kind of understandable. You know, I've got a grandson who has been, he's a step grandson. So we have problems with him adjusting to the rest of the family, things like that. So, and he's, pretty much half white, half black.
And where did that kid come from?
It's my son's fiance, and they've been together for like ever. They were high school sweethearts, and they got back together again, and they had both had a couple kids, and now we take care of the grandkids, granddaughters. Well, they're here. That's why they're here, and then they have the other her son. So it's a really, mine, yours, and ours situation, but it has to work because I believe in a village, and that we have to take care of everybody.
Well, Pat is good at being inclusive. Can we allow Suzette to say something about this Venezuelan topic?
Hello, Suzette. Go ahead.
Suzette, are you eating dinner? Let me see if the call dropped. She's not on the air. I'll call her. I don't know what happened. I'm calling her. Okay, you guys.
No problem. Now, what I'm getting at is that we're leading to a.
Just a minute, Don.
they've got the largest private oil reserves in the world that hasn't been touched. So we've got to go in there before anybody else and reclaim our American, property. So that's something that we're doing. But as I mentioned last week, this is a major opportunity to get into the grazing cattle ranching business. And Venezuela has a lot of land because the Amazon is being ripped apart and for ranches for beef, cheap beef. And that's what the farmers are inflamed about because they're being undercut on purpose by the American government. And so Trump is killing our farmers and in order to get cheap beef out to the public.
What does that have to do with Venezuela?
Venezuela, I just said it, has some of the richest land in the world. Our oil, one of our biggest competitors is Qatar, and then Venezuela.
Okay.
They have some of the biggest reserves in the world.
And they're in our hemisphere.
No, in the world.
I know, I'm just saying that they're in our hemisphere, so we have proximity.
Right, and that's what we want. We don't want the Chinese to come in, and that's the same thing about what's happening in Somalia and in Africa. All of a sudden, Trump has this really golden heart to go in and resolve any problems that they've had for the last 25, 30 years, to go in there and stop more oil as the Chinese.
Yeah, I would like to know
inside of the African nation for their minerals and diamonds.
What is Trump's current beef with Somalia that he all of a sudden brought that up into the public?
I just explained it to you. This is a power grab from the Chinese. This is something where the Somalis were getting paid by the
One
Chinese
second.
through
John's on the line.
the quote unquote civil war. So they're having a civil war there where the Boko Haram and
That's in Nigeria. John's on the line, and Suzette dropped out because she's sick.
yeah, no, it's all.
Don, can you hold on a minute? Suzette dropped out because she's sick. So it's Don, Bianchi, Jane, and John. Go ahead.
And did you hear anything that I said?
Yes, but you were talking so much that I couldn't even tell you I had to cut the call off a sec to bring John in.
That's fine. All I know is that nobody's listening.
I am too. But the Boko Haram are in Nigeria. They're not in Somalia.
They're everywhere.
The. Anyways, John, we played your song.
And Bianchi knows all about it.
John, we played your song in the beginning, but I'm the only one who heard it.
Wow. Thank you. I feel flattered.
Good now. Hi, John.
My brain's getting bigger. Thank you, Don.
I didn't hear another low male voice. I figured you picked a female co-star.
It's our Michael Jackson. Hey, I hear that Trump is targeting the military to blow up all talk radio that criticizes him.
Bulk.
He's already said he's going to blow up all BIPOC people.
Well, since I live in his favorite state, so I'm pretty safe here.
He's starting with all the Somalians in Minnesota.
That's one of our topics. One of our topics tonight. So, Don, could you just repeat your last 10 sentences for John and Bianchi?
In terms of
because you got cut off. You got cut off.
Okay, well, basically, I was talking about the fact that we're getting ready for an emergency state of emergency for another, and to incite violence is the best way to do it, and to have more people incited all over the world makes it a golden opportunity to have a third term. So that's ultimately what I was talking about. In detail, I was just saying that we have to be careful of civil war. That's enough.
Okay, so John, I'm gonna review what our hot topics are tonight.
Right.
Several despots of authority in Washington are. Something came out regarding a Venezuelan boat strike that happened about a month ago. They're angry at Pete Hegseeth because he ordered a second strike after there were 2 survivors. And I guess it didn't follow the protocol of wartime actions before pre-congressional approval. And then the second topic was Trump's new direction of hate towards Minnesota Somalians, including my governor Tim Walz, who he's never liked, and the overall thrust. Who's ever got crankly noise, mute yourself. And the overall thrust of the radio show is that vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, not Donald Trump.
Wow. What about the Wrath of Jane?
The Wrath of Jane is the same as Senator Tim Kaine, and I'm coming for you.
Got it. Well, I mean, John had, he's got 2 synopsises he's supposed to divulge a opinion about. So which one to talk about first? Because I'm sure he's got an opinion on both.
Well, since I am, housing one black man, or I should say, really, we shouldn't use the word black. It's really chocolate. It's really cocoa colored. There's no really black people except for Grace Jones. So they're all cocoa.
Gosh.
Right? They're all various forms of milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and so forth. White chocolate. So, but let's see, and then Saturday, dropping off a keyboard. Actually, I already did, but I'm going to go over and give lessons to a 24-year-old African American. And then, I got Helen's kids. I got to give them, about 400 in a couple of days. Akosa making his payment of let's see, $280 plus 100 insurance plus 80 interest on the loan. Ernest, I gave him a turkey meal this last Saturday night. And what other people of darker persuasion? I don't think there's any.
So what does that have to do with the price of drugs in Venezuela?
No, Venezuela is a different thing. Although isn't that kind of a dark country a little bit? A little cocoa?
Well, it's because of Maduro.
Well, you don't even know. Venezuela is about as white as you are, John.
Really?
They believe in the lighter skin theory.
Oh, wow.
The lighter the skin, the more you want it. Any black or dark skins are sent off.
They're Spaniards.
Outer boundaries.
Well, I think this is my spin on it, is that America takes out leaders, whether it's Gaddafi or whether it's Saddam or whether it's Osama bin Laden or people in Afghanistan or someone in Uganda or wherever. We like to take out people through CIA black ops. So we get people over there who fund these little terrorists. They funnel money through dark money, and then they give them some hints on how to blow up the government. Now, Trump is a little different. He's like, I'm not going to use the CIA. I'm just going to do it myself. Like I don't like Maduro. I don't like Venezuela, how they've been after him with the election, because there's probably the what was the name of that voting system they had? It was. It's
called Diebol. It was.
Dominican.
It was called Diebol. DIE.
Yeah, Dominion. Right.
Oh.
And so, for what I understand is that it was the software people who ran that thing was a company from Venezuela. There was some connection to that. not everything, but there are certain components. And so there was the idea that basically Maduro wanted Trump out, and so since he couldn't assassinate him, you just use a software company and go on. It's brilliant, right? If you think about it, you want to get rid of someone, just go through the political levers or through the voting system or the electronics or software or whatever, or drugs. You bring a lot of drugs, or the border, and you dissolve the country from within. So he's just basically, instead of going black ops, he's like, okay, just these are drug boats, blow them up. It's international water, and it's an act of war. So it's interesting. He is kind of bypassing the usual, like, let's go talk to Congress and wait 5 years.
You don't have to talk to Congress. The boats are carrying contraband. You carrying contraband, just like during World War II. You had merchant ships on the high waters. Germany, the submarine used to blow them up because they was carrying contraband.
Well, you can't. John's right. You can't. Trump is under scrutiny, and he can't just shoot from the hip all the time.
You know why he's under scrutiny? Because you got people in Congress is making money off of this drug trafficking.
No, that's not why. Because he makes a lot of irrational decisions.
Let me give you an example. Congressman Jefferson in New Orleans, he was doing the same thing. He was taking bribes from Nigerian business people. During Katrina, he had a special detail taken back to his house so that he could go in his freezer and get money that he had hid in his freezer. He ended up serving prison.
That really has nothing to do with Donald Trump making a decision about Venezuelan
I'm telling you
boats.
how it works, Jane.
Well, then, if you're saying these Democrats, low-level Democrats, are doing crap,
all the politicians do it.
so that means Donald Trump does it too.
Donald Trump doesn't do that.
Bull crap.
Why are they trying to stop him? Everybody's against the man because he's breaking up their party.
I don't agree with you, but I wanted John to finish his comment, if you don't mind.
So is there a precedent if someone is bringing drugs into the country? Can we blow them out of the waters? Can we do that?
I think this was the premise of the show. Is Pete Hegseeth within his legal realm to shoot?
He's the Secretary of War.
To do a second boat strike under a attack plan that has not been approved by Congress? That was the question.
Congress does not have to approve attack. No. Could you imagine World War II when we bombed Tokyo? We had to get orders from a judge.
We're not in a war. We're not in a war with Venezuela.
Here's the question. Do we declare war on Iraq? Do we declare war on Afghanistan?
Did they not bomb Iran?
Yes,
not too long
we
ago.
did declare war on Iraq and Afghanistan. We did. Who's swearing? We're talking about real wars versus the
Middle East countries where we fund. Like example, do we declare war on Libya? Do we declare war, on any of these Middle East?
Sometimes.
Lebanon, Syria. We didn't declare war on Syria, right?
Do you support?
We weren't really
illegal wars. These are every war you just mentioned. Every time you.
These are covert wars, right? So we fund them. We can't call Obama.
Not every war.
We drove on them.
Not every war that we're involved with was an illegitimate war, even if it was for the wrong reasons. For example, we went into.
Congress didn't approve and declare war on Syria, Lebanon, right?
Well, we didn't. We were only doing little things over there. When we went to war in 2003 with Saddam Hussein, we blamed them for some of the pipeline from that the Al Qaeda used to attack us. They blamed Saddam Hussein for some of that.
Well, here's the thing, Jane. What they do is nothing you can do about it. Nothing. they gonna do it.
Yes, I
Now,
can.
go
I
ahead.
can have a
Now,
radio.
go ahead.
I can have a radio show that.
Why do you keep cutting people off, James?
Because you're acting like you're the
I
authority.
tell you what, because he's back.
No, you said that.
Judge.
You basically said, Bianchi, that Donald Trump can do what he wants, and that's not necessarily true.
Donald Trump told you you can shoot somebody off Fifth Avenue and get away with it. That's true.
Go ahead.
Bianchi said it's true.
Go ahead and finish, Bianchi, but I'm not forced to agree with you.
Is Trump using the channel though? I didn't order the strike. Pete's in charge, and he left it up to the boat, the guy in charge of that naval ship, and that person worked under their, like, he's cleared to make a decision, like, we think that something bad's happening, so we're going to blow him up. So I think you'd have to court martial, and you'd have to have Congress go after Trump in a long thing to get to him, because he didn't. It's like the mob, right? Like Gambino, he doesn't do the hit. He hires a guy who hires a guy, and they do a favor, and that's how they roll.
I'm not even necessarily talking about Trump in this scenario.
But we should be.
That's where it's going to lead to, though.
But you don't. Some of y'all don't get it. So Trump is a mobster at heart. He's a Nazi mobster at heart, and I mean, he wants to shut down all the competition so that he and his cronies can have the lion's share of the drug trade from, wherever he's getting it from. A lot of it's coming probably from straight from, I would say maybe Vietnam, Indonesia, that area. I'm not sure about that. But a lot of the drug trades, poppies are not grown here, but the heroin trade is going gangbusters because everybody who's on, what is it? What is the drug that they can't get enough of now, and now they have to
cocaine,
opium,
heroin.
No, it starts with the
meth, fentanyl.
No, fentanyl is one of them, but it's not.
Like the poppies.
Opioids. Opioids.
It's the opium. Yes, the opium.
Yeah,
opium.
We'll. Okay, why don't we go in a circle? Let's go in a circle, and Bianchi can go first, since he feels cut off. Either Don or John has a cackly phone.
I think mine's stable.
Okay, Bianchi, what were you saying? I just don't want people to do blatant conversation saying like, this person doesn't do any wrong. Okay, Bianchi hung up the big baby.
Maybe that's where the noise was, because it sounds like it's a stable, quiet line. What I would say is, I think the strategy that Trump is doing is he figures, okay, it's a 50-50 that no matter what happens, that he's going to lose House or Senate or both at the midterms. Just normally, that's what happens the majority of the time. And then if the media and the press give the perception the economy is bad, or maybe didn't solve Ukraine, Russia, or whatever, or the tariffs, we didn't figure out all of China. So people are going to go, we were voting for a Democrat. So the problem is he's got a lot of issues he wanted to take care of. He's got a laundry list of stuff. So if he gets stalled with being impeached and Congress won't approve anything, so it's kind of like, it's break into your ex-girlfriend's, room. She's left for the weekend, right? Okay, she's out with her lover, and her room's unlocked, and you're like, there's her diary, there's her birth control, or maybe she has condoms or whatever. It's like, and you start going through stuff like notes, text. She left her other phone with unlocked, right? And you're like, let's check the messages, let's check the pictures. I think what he's doing, he's cleaning things up. Or in other words, he's always wanted to get rid of Maduro.
Yeah, because
no matter what happens, just get him out, right? He's got the naval ships there, the planes. They're already.
So you're actually pinpointing the theme of the show, that he's targeting Venezuela because he doesn't like the president, and he hasn't for a long time.
Do you like the communist Maduro?
Well, wait, and he's just trying.
4 warships. You don't send 4 aircraft carriers and prepare ground troops just because you don't like a motherfucker. That is the stupidest shit in the world. What kind of baby shit is that?
It happens all the time. It happens all the time. The point of what I'm saying is...
not necessarily, but...
There were 4 or 5 things. He wanted to shut down the border because there's a mess. He did that, right? He wants to clean up these towns like Portland, Seattle, D.C., Chicago, New York. He's going to clean it up. He wants to get rid of Maduro. He wants to settle, Hamas and Israel and Ukraine, Russia. He wants to settle the China thing. And there's a few other things. But basically, he's just going down the list. Boom, boom, boom. I'll get it done. And even if you impeach me, even if you go after me, they're done. They're taken. They're out of the way. And then he can sit back and go, okay, now let me get a team of people in there. Department of Defense, Justice, and people that will defend him, right? His own. So
the bottom line question is, do you agree with his approach?
In extreme times, I would say, yeah, you got to take care of biz. It's like if you have a drug dealer right in your house, or in your neighbor, and they're running stuff, and you go, okay, we got to get rid of this guy somehow. And you would say, well, the nice thing to do is to go to the police and get a note and, appeal. And it's like, that's not going to work. So we're going to get rid of him somehow. I'll pay someone, or I'll snitch on him. We'll set him up. Whatever. I think so. To a degree, is it nice? Is it fair? Is it by the book? No, but it's like like when you're dealing with criminals, it's like you go undercover.
Let's make it clear that neither Trump nor Hegseeth were discreet about this. It's all out in the open. They're not hiding anything.
Have you ever seen an injustice, and you go, man, I just wish someone would take care of this
But
situation.
They didn't. They didn't use the CIA. They're very blatant in their approach. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you like it is.
Oh, yeah. And what you're asking me is like, do you agree with that? I go, well, it's like when someone tried to beat me up at school, my best friend said, who is he? Where is he? I'll get him. And I'm like, no, leave him alone. The point is, it's like if he went and kicked his butt, I would go like, I wouldn't do it that way, but you took care of the problem. So
okay, if Obama was in office and he had a bone to pick with Cuba and he went in there with 4 warships, would you approve?
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, because for 20 years I've watched all our businesses leave America to China. I've watched the border go crazy. I've lost everything, business, properties, the banks, all that stuff. It's like I feel powerless. And here we're the most powerful country in the world, and it's like we have nothing, right? And here's Alpha Dog coming in. He's saying, I'm going to take care of some stuff. I'm going to knock some people around. And I would go, you're not doing it by the book. And I'd go, but you know what? Like get them for me. I think that's what people voted for.
Well, when you lost
fix the problem.
When you lost your property in Arizona, that was the George Bush Jr. administration.
Yes, and then but the bailout and all that all that stuff was under Obama. He inherited, and then what they did is they bailed the banks.
They did.
Everyone got mad at Obama because the banks got 98% went to the banks and big business, and 2% went to people like me who got crucified. And I just sat there and went like, we lost all this money, and we bailed them out. We bailed out the banks, and Obama. Not to blame totally Obama. He had no other option. The banks came to him and said, this is what we're going to do. And he walked in the room going, It's like when you are the king, and then the army comes up behind you, and they say, "Well, let's have a meeting," and all the captains go, "Listen, this is what we're going to do, or we're going to kill you," and you're like, "Okay," and he had to, that's what you do. You roll with the program.
Okay, I was just gonna say, the 2008 fall of Wall Street was all corporately driven primarily. They broke the laws of our United States government. It was a greedy mess. The government tried to do the best to fix it and patch it up, but it was a driven problem from the private markets and all the Bernie Madoffs of the world. It probably wasn't even fully George Bush's fault or Obama's cleanup fault. It was the bad guys in the corporate world. And Wells,
I had a $500,000 in equity in a condo in Santa Monica. So here's the problem. I was equity rich, but no money. So you imagine you buy something for $60,000 and suddenly it becomes worth $600,000. You go, man, the only way I can make money is if I sell it and then invest it. But I didn't want to sell, and I didn't want to move, and I didn't have many money. So what we do?
Because at that time, that's what you chose.
So and that was smart. And you read a couple books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, and you go, okay, I'm playing the Rich Dad Poor Dad board game, and we're winning every week because it's easy to win on the board. Let's do it in real life. But the one problem is we should have gotten 1 or 2 properties. But I was a genius, and you go in with Wells Fargo, they work with me. It's like, I want 4 properties, and like, we'll make it happen. Now, by their standards of metrics, how they're supposed to do, they should have said you get 1 or 2 properties, and that's all you can afford. But everyone was rolling with things. It's like, okay, here's some more. I want 4 more. We can get 8. And they're like, 8 you have. And this was at the peak before the bubble. It's like they broke all the rules for me, and I was along with it. It's like, hey, they approved it. This sounds good to me. I know I'm over leveraged, but it's going to be all right.
Well, that was the assumption that all the renters would pay the rent.
Right, and it would have worked perfectly, except, as you know, life isn't perfect, and they went Titanic. So the point I'm saying is that they bent a lot of rules, and they just, and in the end, the banks made money. So Trump is breaking some rule. He's pushing the rules. I won't even say he's breaking it, because if he broke the rules, they could get him. But he's pushing the edge.
I would like to say something though. In certain venues, I can see what he's driving at, but he's attacking different groups of people in different nations and locally too. And a lot of people don't understand his approach.
Do you like Venezuela, what they're doing there? And do you like
it's not a matter of, I'm not doing the radio show because I like Venezuela. I'm doing it because it was a foreign policy breach.
Right, but again, like we're supporting Muslims who hate America.
They're not in Venezuela. The Muslims are not in Venezuela. It's a Catholic nation.
Let's go to Venezuela again. It's a drug smuggling, like Colombia and Venezuela.
There might be more to the country than we realize. We always focus on the negative.
It's a very poor country.
Well, a lot of those.
What do we import from Venezuela?
Maybe oil and gas. I don't know.
Because we get our oil through we bring it in from the Middle East of all places, and ourselves. We went green.
80%.
Canada, right?
80% of Venezuela is Catholic.
Yeah, but it's which is not good.
I'm just saying. I there's more to the country than the drug dealers. There's people who are subjected to the drug dealers.
The people are Catholic, but the ones running the show are not. You could call highly religious people. I mean,
I agree, but the thing is that the whole point is that we can't always be the policeman of the world, even when when George Bush had a alternative to go into Iraq, it wasn't because he believed that they were involved with bin Laden. It's because him and Cheney wanted to build a pipeline from all the way from the northern Middle East through Iraq. It had nothing to do with religious beliefs. I'm giving an example.
Wasn't Venezuela just like Libya, one of the richest countries in South America, very successful? Maduro came in there, and actually he succeeded the person before him, and he brought in a lot of corruption. And then they had elections. He lost, but he basically said, "I won," and I say so.
Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like?
The people don't want him, and Trump is just saying, "We don't recognize you as a leader because."
Don, quit dialing. So Hugo Chavez was in there before Maduro. He was controversial too, but he increased the individual citizen wealth every year. He built public housing, and every person had a house to live in Venezuela under Hugo Chavez. And he was a smartass, and he was also disliked by the international community, but he was successful.
And now, though, the country is very poor, correct?
Yes, a lot of them, over 2 million of them left about 3 years ago. They left on foot.
So if Maduro leaves under pressure and the country is flourishing in 3 years, would you prefer that, or would you prefer them to be starving, poor, oppressed, and dealing drugs?
I really don't. I have two approaches to that problem. We should begin a rescue mission for people who, between Venezuela and the U.S., who are struggling and want. What's that one word that you use when you're a war refugee? They want a status because they're suffering. My brain's a little tired tonight.
Asylum? Do they want asylum?
Yeah, asylum. So nobody really, because of all the border shutdowns, a lot of the Venezuelans, just like any other immigrant, was stuck in Mexico. So I'm not okay. I'll tell you my answer. I don't approve of regime change. If Maduro's wait, I'm not done. If Maduro doesn't fall, if Maduro doesn't fall on his own through the machinations of his own government and his own inner protests, then I don't believe the U.S. should take him out. We will wait for a proper time for that to happen.
Well, kind of the concept is that what we should do is when a country doesn't want a change, we shouldn't do it. Example, Muslims don't, in a Muslim country, you don't displace them because they don't want they don't want capitalistic Western ideas, so they will fail. But in this case, if the people don't want Maduro and they want to be free, I don't see as big an issue because that's what they really want to do. But in the case of what your example is, if someone, like you say, we should have aid for them. Okay, well, using that concept, so is the solution with the cartels to give aid that gets stolen and used and ripped off, or do you get rid of the cartels? Do you get rid of the guy that's having people hostage with the gun? Do you get rid of him, or do you give money and offer, like, here's some money, give it to the people, and the gunman says, oh, I'll make sure that they get it? Because that's what's going to happen. See, if you do aid, you're going to have to funnel it through Maduro's government.
I have an answer for that, but I'm going to let Don go because he's kind of out of the loop. So Don,
why? That's what the problem is, right? We send food.
I don't believe that I don't believe that every chunk of aid. Was it Venice? Who did Trump send $40 million to recently? Was it? It was another country in South America.
Yeah, he did something.
What country was that? That pissed off a lot of Americans. Here, I'll Google it. In the meantime, Dong or somebody else can talk. Go ahead, you guys.
I like to hear more of Don.
Yeah, no, I'm
'Cause
not
I-
listening.
It was Argentina.
That's right. That's right.
So like that made a lot of MAGA people mad because it wasn't America First policy.
Sometimes you have to pay off some people to get some things going.
I'm just saying that it made some people mad. That's all I'm saying. So my philosophy is I saw an interview with Peter Jennings and Gaddafi the other day when Gaddafi was still alive, and Peter Jennings asked him, where is the central headquarters of the Al Qaeda? And guess what he said?
Washington, D.C.
He said New York.
New York City, exactly.
So I laughed my head off. And then I think it was Peter Jennings. I can't remember. It was one of those top-ranking ABC anchors. He was trying to get Gaddafi to say, wasn't it terrible about 9/11 what bin Laden did? And Gaddafi refused to answer in the way the anchor wanted him to. So that was an interesting interview to observe.
Yeah, it was a different era too. Peter Jennings.
I think it was somebody like that. Sometimes on Instagram they have like historical interviews, but then they end up only showing 2 minutes, so it's kind of a drag. You know, like you don't get the full picture. So
The news has always been slanted a little lefty, but compared to now it's like literally they're just it's left to right.
Well, now it's a bunch of podcasters that are running the show. It's not the Jon Stewarts of the world or the ABC or NBC anchor. It's sometimes Rachel Maddow, but it's the low-level podcasters like Harry Sisson and this other guy. But anyways, I wanted to say politely that Bianchi dropped out of the show just because that one time I didn't let him answer fully. So he's been sensitive for a couple weeks now. So he goes, I'm already on another radio show, so don't bother me. And I said, okay, whiner.
You should bring him back. Give him some like foreign aid.
I told him that we try to give him a chance. We try to give him a chance, but he already hung up.
You're oppressing the dark man.
I'm not oppressing him. I'm just. He's like my friend Billy Brook. He's always blatantly defending Trump.
John is right.
You're oppressing my brother.
I have to listen to Bianco every fucking day of the week. He sends me links. And then he started arguing with a stranger last night on my wall. Suzette did not want to be in the thread. So what I did is I couldn't get rid of her. So I changed her number by 1 digit. And this person kept writing back, I'm not in this group. Don't write me. Like, don't involve me with this group. So I couldn't. I was trying to explain to Bianchi that this is a complete stranger, not Suzette.
Use one of my phone numbers for her. How about that? Then it'll come to me.
Well, what happened was I just, on that particular day, I changed the phone number just to get Suzette off. And then Bianchi started arguing with the stranger, like, I don't have the wrong number. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And he didn't know what was going on, and I tried to explain it to him.
If I go to Nairobi and I marry a 20-year-old girl, is that liberating her or oppressing her?
Oppressing. Because you don't have what it takes anymore.
What if the minute I land there, she goes, hello, my friend?
Either she's looking for money or you're looking for a young girl. It's a bad idea.
And James,
What do you think, Don? What do you think, Don?
Why are you changing the topic to complete shallowness? You're not slick.
Well, I figure if you're going to oppress the black man, I might as well oppress the black
I'm
woman.
not oppressing him. he talks on the show all the time, the Egyptian.
This is all about white supremacy.
Last week, Don was trying to accuse Bianchi of just a minute. He said that your culture approves of 13-year-old rapes. And Don was under the impression that Bianchi was born in Egypt, but he wasn't.
Well, do you think that
he still didn't defend that he didn't?
Right, he didn't say like I'm totally against that. You're right, he didn't make a confirmation about if he approved of that type of behavior.
Interesting. Well, Don, do you think that the Muslim culture invading America is the biggest threat to world security for the planet?
Hell no. Go ahead, Don.
Hell no. The biggest threat to the planet was bringing slaves over to work without an end game. That was the biggest threat to the world. Because now we got to take care of another set of people like always.
Well, here's an interesting
the biggest threat is a bunch of white crackers thinking that they're the only proficient rulers.
Well, that may be oppression, but if you go all of Middle East in a Muslim country, you and I are dead people. If you go to Upper Africa...
Well, we're not in those countries. We don't live there.
You mean, Don, if I as a Christian go to Pakistan, or I go to Sudan, or I go to Tanzania, or Nigeria, where they just beheaded 30 people.
The Nigerian country is in a...
They weren't tourists.
Nigeria is a terrible country.
Like, is anyone else beheading people on the planet?
Nigeria is a terrible country. They keep abducting children from schools. Did you know 250 of those kids escaped? They got out of the hands of the oppressor.
I have missionary friends in Nairobi, and they were just down in Tanzania, and they came back. The elections were held, and the president woman, she said, I think she got 99% of the vote. And the people said, no, you didn't. And we don't want you. And she started arresting and killing people left and right. And it's a bloodbath. And our missionary friends are like we have to stay over here in Nigeria.
There's a lot of terrible things going on in Africa. It has been for a
long time.
long.
If they go over to Nigeria, I mean, again, they travel across. They went to Uganda. They go to Nigeria. They're like if we go over there, we'll get beheaded. And you don't think that's you think that white crackers are the biggest problem in the world?
I do think that in the United States, white privilege is a huge problem. Yes, we're not talking about missionaries in Nigeria. You brought that up secondary. We were talking about.
I'm talking all the Middle East. There's over almost 1 billion people.
Okay,
there.
Here's the problem. There's a lot of people who kill and oppress on earth. All those people are threats, especially examples like the Boko Haram. I listen to the Catholic channel about 20 out of 24 hours a day, at least when I'm in my car. And they've killed a lot of Catholics too, black and white. So yes, the Boko Haram is a threat to all people of all color who are Christian. It doesn't matter your sect. It could be Catholic, Protestant, or any of the evangelicals. They kill Christians.
Well, the two most powerful cities in the Western world are New York City and London, and they both have Muslim mayors. Do you think that downwind with a growing Muslim population like Dearborn, Michigan, do you think that's going to
No, I don't.
In a positive way for American
I'll tell
culture?
you why. Most Christians don't even pray once a week. Muslims pray 5 times a day, and it's between them and their God. 99% of Muslims are not political. And that Mambani, or whatever his name is, he has a community-oriented approach for his city. He doesn't have a my way or the highway approach. So no, I don't.
Well, he's westernized, and that's a Western idea.
And plus, I think his parents are from Jordan.
Culture, he's an infidel. He's
well,
not,
let him be whoever he wants, but let's see how he does, and before we judge him.
Well, what I'm saying is so you think Muslim culture, getting, say, Congress people and city councils in cities that become majority population Muslims, do you think that's a good thing for American culture? Like,
I think I live in Minnesota, whether it's a Somalian or a Scandinavian farmer or a German farmer or we have the largest Vietnamese population in the country, percentage-wise. There's a lot in California too, but proportionally, Minnesota was the first state to take in Vietnamese refugees in 1975. So if Suni Yi, the famous gymnast, became a senator, I wouldn't feel threatened by her. So why would I feel threatened by the several Jewish senators that Minnesota had? Rudy Boschwitz was one. He was a Jew. I don't feel threatened by the 1% Jew who was a senator. So why should I feel threatened by out of the 8 congressional districts in Minnesota, there's one represented by a Muslim? No, I don't feel threatened. And I feel like you're trying to drive the narrative now. You're trying to.
No, I'm just going through culture. So in 50 years from now, or so, if we have majority Muslim populations in major cities with major, politicians and lawmakers, right, and governing people, you think that's going to strengthen American system?
I was talking to somebody today, a college friend from St. Paul. The Constitution is never going to be replaced by Sharia law. And what if Barron Trump marries a Muslim from Bangladesh? You never know what's going to happen.
So you're saying that the Constitution will never be altered?
It is right now by the lawless Donald Trump is altering the Constitution. He wants to be president for the 3rd time.
Well, it's been done. It's been done before.
I know, but right now it's not the law. One of the amendments 20 through 25 says no, you can't do that. So
again, whether he's president 3 terms, 5 terms, like that's just. We have to vote and elect, and that's if the people want that, power to the people. But in the case of like Dearborn, Michigan, there are cities like now at 5 a.m. in the morning, they pipe in prayers. People actually stop in the streets, in intersections, and put their mats down and pray.
Yeah, but the white people don't have to pray if they're not Muslim.
No, they're stopping in the street, though. They're stopping.
Okay, they have a whistle. I know they do. They have a whistle that goes off 5 times a day, and people who adhere to the whistle pray. If you're not...
Now, if I, as a Christian, get out and stop in the middle of the street in Santa Monica, and I get a Bible and I start preaching with the loudspeaker, what happens to me?
You tell us, because you do it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at a street corner, and I have a permit, and I don't block traffic, and I don't block the sidewalk, and they make us move. Actually, I've been told, a couple different spots, you can't be here, you have to move. You have to turn down. You have to go over here. And I go, okay. And I comply.
It's my understanding that the Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan, they're in their homes or in their businesses when they pray. They don't. Did you know Michigan has a winter like Minnesota? They don't crawl on the street with a mat and kneel and pray.
Well, actually, people are complaining about the volume at 5 a.m. when it goes off for prayer, and they've complained to the city council and local authorities, and they go, "Oh, it's religious freedom."
That's annoying to say. And there's a lot of there's a lot of small town churches in Minnesota that have Catholic and Presbyterian bells go off at church time.
Okay, so I guess just to define things, you're good with majority Muslim cities and governing parties and mosques and the culture and tradition.
I don't think that's going to happen for.
You believe it's compatible with Western or Jewish or other cultures. You believe that going to Muslim countries across the world, historically and currently, that they're compatible with other faiths.
I don't think there's one city in America that's a. Muslims represent 1 to 2% of the American population, just like the Jews. They're not anywhere near a majority.
Well, they're 55% in Dearborn, I do believe.
Well, let them be in Dearborn, Michigan.
And what about Somalia and like in other small cities? So but the point is, go ahead.
Don, it's your turn to defend these poor Africans. I'm not really up for this conversation. That's not the topic tonight.
Well, you people are sick because the Muslim race our religion does not allow drinking, fornication, adultery. Those are things that are, in a way, virtuous. They're praying all the time.
Sure.
I don't know what virtues that you don't like about that, especially being religious Christian people. You should admire that.
Well, when I go travel to, I'll answer why. I was in Cebu, Philippines, and I could have taken a flight, a $700 ticket to go to Pakistan and visit Mubashir and preach. And the week that we were talking about it, we'd spent $1,600 in food. My brother had spent a couple thousand in getting him a van so he could drive from town to town and distribute food and preach and have sermons. And they pulled him over, the police who were Muslim. They trashed the vehicle. They ran it into a wall so it wouldn't run. They stole the $1,600 of food. They cut his arm, and they said, stop preaching, stop sharing your gospel, stop having meetings, even in secret with your group, or worse will happen to you. Or you can pay us. There's also, you understand you have to pay the tax to the Muslim. When they run things, you have to pay a tax. If you're the infidel, if you're a non-Muslim. If you don't, then they can do physical force, and if they control the city, they can kill you too.
All right, I have a question.
Are you aware that that's how they operate?
We're in America.
Today, I couldn't go to Pakistan because I said, so you can't guarantee that I will be safe there. No. If we're out there preaching, just show. He had pictures, like 5 cuts on his arm with a knife. He had to go to the hospital. And that was a Muslim. Ago. So again, am I telling you the truth? Do you think?
No, you're not. I'll tell you why you're being distorted. We're talking about religious protection in America where people can participate in the faith of their choice. Then you're talking about going to a second world country, the Philippines, and wanting to go to a dangerous country like Pakistan and talking about religious persecution there. It has nothing to do with America.
Oh, well, actually, here's the point. Every country that is dangerous is a majority population Muslim with governing Muslim authorities. So what I'm saying is, in any city, any country, when you have a majority population Muslim with majority governing Muslim people, you're going to have that result. That's all I'm saying.
I don't agree with that statement. America is now a dangerous country because ICE is determining what illegals can live and be free. And my black child Lauren, was arrested by the Tempe police. Not really arrested. He was removed from the streets because he chose not to give him his name. And he was taken against his will and put in a facility for 27 days just because he wouldn't give his name. And because he's
Wasn't that
black.
because he was also trying to get into someone else's house?
No, he
that thought
wasn't.
lived there?
He walked up to a house and asked for water. The police lied.
Oh, okay. I can go with that. Well,
So
going
what I'm
back
trying
to
to say is, you're talking about some podunk city in Michigan, where Michigan is a state near Ann Arbor is where the university is. They happen to take in a lot of Muslims, just like in 1975, Minnesota took a lot of Vietnamese. So what I'm trying to say is, why are you picking one religious group to pretty much emotionally vilify just because you feel nervous about it?
Not just nervous about it. The reality is, if I went to any of those countries, any of them, my life would be in danger.
Well, we're in danger. Americans are in danger right now.
So you think that what is ICE doing that is dangerous to citizens of America?
There, some people who are Hispanic who are legal, they put them into custody because they appear to be illegal.
Right. So how do you stop ICE? If you have a valid driver's license or a passport or papers, you show them that, or they look up your name with your social security number, and they go, "Oh, you're legal. You can go."
All right. So there was a Spanish man in Baltimore. There's a Latino man in Baltimore who had 3 sons in the Marines. He had a legal driver's license, and they still took him in custody.
Well, they should
Do you know how many of those alleged illegals are apprehended in public, in front of people? These weak white people cannot stomach seeing anybody getting thrown around, cuffed, and taken down.
Well, to answer your question, doesn't everyone know if you're here without proper paperwork, you don't have a passport or ID that you're supposed? Don't they know that they're supposed to leave? Doesn't everyone know that? If you say La Migra, they run, right? Because they know I'm not supposed to be here. I'll be deported. Everyone knows that.
You don't run after them in a grocery store.
Why not?
Because you got people that are innocent bystanders that can be hurt. They pull out a gun or
so if I'm a criminal or I rob a bank, I can just go to a grocery store and it's like, okay, you have to wait till I'm done shopping, and I go down the street corner so I could shoot or attack the ICE.